Everyone always loves talking about how Thorns is one of those solo operators who's damn good in the game, able to kill everything in the stage all by himself. And it's thanks to his skill tree, where it says attack range expands, attack is increased, ASPD gets increased, range attacks no longer have reduced damage. And better yet, when you activate this skill a second time, it's infinite with double the bonuses. A stage like this, no problem for Thorns, he's killing everything on his own. I think I'm showing the wrong stage, hold on. Hey, the rule to a very good Thorns is to activate his skill for a second time. So I already activated it once, let's give him a bit more enemies, he's gonna charge up his attack, and look at him solo this stage once again. Alright, these guys have come in, activate his skill, go, go, go! Thorns, attack, attack, attack! Go! Thorns, I'm not even making you do EX stages, please. Please solo this stage. It's a normal stage. You can do it. Yes, yes. Charge your skill. Charge. Charge. Thorns. Okay, guys. Hear me out. I found the best stage for Thorns. This one is Chapter 3. Chapter 3 E2 level 80 Thorns. Definitely can do it. You see this big wave of wolves? Smack, 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 smack. You see, Thorns is doing it. It's okay, one leak is all we're going to get, okay? You see this big pool of slugs? Thorns has done it before. Thorns is literally the king of this game. Turn on his skill, infinite mode time, let's go. Get it on, blast it up. Smack it, smack, smack. Ah! You know, a lot of people like to say that Thorns can solo stages. Is that really true? Or what do they mean when they say Thorns can solo? You see, a lot of the times when people say that Thorns can be a solo operator, they don't mean the only operator in the stage, but instead the only damage dealer. Many of the stages in the game right now do not only have one blue box, but two or even more instead. And you can't expect Thorns to hold all the lanes on his own. He's not a Link where she can summon 3 dragons. So, in a stage like this that I showed just now, placing just a single defender on the top lane for instance, just to hold the enemies within Thorns range is very helpful for him to be able to kill them all. And better yet, Thorns doesn't really need healing depending on certain stages that you play. Because when Thorns stops attacking, as we read his talent here, it states that if the unit doesn't attack for 2 seconds, he's able to restore 3% of his max HP every second. Depending on your potential, it might be 3.5. So that's why you don't really use Thorns on his own. You will always need some form of support. The type of support that Thorns will need can include things like giving him block count, such as placing a defender, guard or vanguard right in front of him so that you can block more enemies and let Thorns take his time to do the killing for everyone. On the other hand, you might also consider taking defenders that can heal, or if not, medics into the stage. Yes, Thorns has the talent where he can self-heal, but the problem is, if he's attacking enemies, that talent doesn't get activated. So in a stage like this, Twilight of Wolomonde where they are the casters, they're pretty much hurting Thorns right now. And once the tower gets captured, that tower is also going to be attacking Thorns. So in a situation like this, might be pretty ideal to still give him a medic after all. The thing to note about Thorns' skill tree is that he's a single target attacker. In situations where there are a huge swarm of enemies, like these wolves that you see here, he's not exactly able to handle all of them that easily. And in that scenario, the support that you might want to add is, for example, things like a AoE kind of attacker, whether it's a guard, caster or sniper. And this way, you're allowing Thorns to charge, and once he gets his skill tree up, he's still able to provide a big amount of supportive damage into the stage. So you see this scenario over here where there are a huge wave of slugs. Thorns maybe can try to kill them all, but if the slugs do happen to move faster than the way he attacks, then he's still gonna struggle anyways. The great thing about Thorns, however, is that if you happen to have stages where there are drones, he can pretty much act like a sniper because he is gonna hurt those drones anyways. All lords are able to hit the air. So once they get into his range, kaboom, that's what he's able to do for the stage. One of the big troubles of Thorns is that his skill tree is definitely the bread and butter skill, the one that you use the most often, but that means you have to build him to E2. And at E1, Thorns isn't that viable to use. So if any of you are owning Thorns and you're like, oh, I finally got a very strong operator, you're gonna have to E2 him first for you to feel that way. My favorite way of playing Thorns is by building a trade. For example, as you see here, I placed Thorns right behind Blaze, and Blaze already has an extended range. It looks like this at the moment. Thorns has an extended range, which looks like this. Apparently this guy needs a bit of smacking, so let me put Myrtle there. And I'm gonna place Saria right in front. You see this little thing where I create like a death tile, where Thorns, and Blaze are able to hit the very same tile to annihilate anyone. Blaze is AoE, Thorn is also AoE, and Thorns is simply hitting anybody who somehow leaks past this entire crew of people. So I'm quite sure a lot of meta players, this is kind of how you do certain stages as well, and this is why Thorns is a very nice quality of life operator to add into your account. Not sure if you've noticed this in the previous playthrough, but Thorns is fantastic for an event like Invitation to Wine. The reason for that is his marvelous talent. It reads that it poisons the target when attacking, dealing 125 arts damage to them per second, which lasts for 3 seconds. So you see this little blue color effect on the enemy when he's hitting them? That's the poison in play. And blue poison shares the exact same talent, where she poisons the target but for a small amount of damage, 85 if not 75 depending on her potential, 75 arts damage to them per second, and also for 3 seconds. I'm gonna place Isara here for healing. So now let's turn on Thorns skill 3 and watch it do that huge amount of damage. So some of these artifacts needs a huge amount of hits, and because of the poison effect where it lasts for that long and just lowers the hit requirement, this allows Thorns and even blue poison to deal with an event mechanic like this so darn easily. So this guy is about to spill out all of this. Unfortunately, there's way too many artifacts, so Thorns and blue poison alone might not be able to deal with it because there's single target. If there's just very few enemies, it's going to be okay. But if there's so many like what you see here, that is why at the early part of the video, I explained that Thorns will need a certain amount of support in order to still be done good at certain stages. Still talking about Thorns' talent is very good when you have a lot of ranged enemies. It can be those that are flying like you see here, or if not, it's those that's on the ground, like casters for example. Because his talent states that the poison damage is double when it's attacking against ranged enemies. So for example, with things like drones, Thorns just becomes like a sniper and is able to easily deal with them. And that's kind of the reason why a lot of people will tell you that Thorns is simply just a guard and sniper hybrid, which explains why he's just too damn good in this game. Now here's a legitimate question, would you ever use Thorns skill 2? The answer is no. You probably will never ever touch this skill, but if there is a reason why you touch this skill, is that this skill synergizes very well with his talent. So let's turn on his skill. The Lancer is coming in, and Thorns doesn't really take much damage because his defense has been increased. So it says that he stops attacking, attack increases by 40%, this is a rank 7 Thorns on skill 2, defense increases. When hit by an enemy's normal attack, it launches long range spikes at up to 4 enemies in front. There will be a cooldown, so it doesn't mean that enemies continuously hit him, means he starts repelling it all. So it's a decent amount of attack if enemies are constantly attacking him, and the reason why this synergizes well with his talent is that if the unit has an attack for 2 seconds, restores a certain amount of max HP every second, and it's a pretty big amount. Mine has the potential for a talent increase, so instead it should be 3% of max HP. So since he stops attacking, it actually means that he's always healing, despite him shooting back with this spike attack. So it works very well against something like a Lancer, as you see over here, because now without his skill, notice that the damage is kind of like a little bit bigger. Of course, there's the fan that helps out a lot, but if there's like 3 or 4 Lancers that come in, you can imagine that Thorns will take a huge amount of damage. So we're gonna see Thorns against maybe something like the Demolitionist, the big guy that is gonna come in. So again, when Thorns is not attacking anyone, he will be able to heal up, and now there's a very big strong enemy that's coming in, and we'll basically try to increase Thorns' defense in order to allow him to just hold out the attack. And he's just gonna shoot back. So you see, one of the big problems with the skill 2 is that if the enemy has a very high attack, and they have a very short attack interval, then it doesn't really synergize very well, and in that case you would definitely prefer using Thorns skill 3. But if the enemies don't have that high of an attack and there's a whole bunch of them coming in, then that could be ideal for you to use Thorns skill 2. But really, most often, you will just be using his skill 3. To end off, if you still aren't using Thorns, what's stopping you from using him? Is he too meta for your liking? If that's not your reason, then once you get him your account, be sure to put your attention onto this lovely Thorns. Alright, that's all to mention for him. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and to watch some of the lots of other operator showcases, click on this playlist over here. If not, you can see another recommended video. Thank you, YouTube. Subscribe.